What do World War I, Jason Statham, and killing your neighbors all have in common? Well, they're all going to be a part of this week's First Formation. I'm Izzy Wright from the Pop Culture Field Manual Podcast. Let's hit it! First off, coming this week to the Shudder Network, Destroy All Neighbors.
People are living next to some kind of maniac.
I am now leaving your head rent-free.
Flash is just driving me crazy.
You're headed into chaos.
What?
Blood will be spilled.
You gotta stand on your own 2 feet and say, "Get out of my kitchen, because I'm cooking!"
William, use your demons. Don't let them use you.
Okay, so Jonah Ray, who was the star of the Mystery Science Theater 3000 reboot, you see that on Netflix, lost a bunch of weight. Not a bunch. I mean, it's not like he was like super fat before, but you just look at him now and it's like he did something. I haven't been following his Instagram. Maybe he, got the stomach staple surgery, or maybe he's just been eating well. I don't know the guy. I got nothing against him. I actually really liked the Mystery Science Theater 3000 show. He is starring in an upcoming horror film, Destroy All Neighbors. In this film, he plays a kind of down on his luck musician aspiring to finish his album, and he gets the worst neighbor ever, played by Alex Winter. That's the guy who wasn't Keanu Reeves in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Alex Winter in a bunch of makeup. He ends up killing his neighbor with a lot of practical effects in this one, and then he slowly goes insane and starts hallucinating. And there's it's just like zany, crazy, gory horror. It looks like a horror comedy, very much in the vein of like Psycho Goreman. By the way, if you haven't seen Psycho Goreman, go and check that out. But it just looks like a really fun, good time. If you love horror, if you love kind of like that goofy kind of gonzo type humor, and practical effects. Looks like there's a ton of practical effects. Jonah Ray, not just in Mystery Science Theater 3000, but he is a pretty funny guy in his own right. And it looks like a lot of fun. So go check out Destroy All Neighbors on the Shudder Network. And if you don't have the Shudder Network, then never mind. Up next, Jason Statham is a beekeeper, coming out this Friday.
Mrs. Parker and I were friends. She was the only person who ever took care of me.
I just got a message saying that there's a problem with my computer.
Yes, ma'am, we got this.
Yesterday, she shot herself.
This is private property.
Do you know what they do here? Scamming the weakest in our society.
Buddy, I'm counting to 3.
1, 2, 3. No, you can't. I'm gonna burn this place to the ground.
Will you stomp his ass out?
So here's the problem with this. If you had never seen an action movie before, and this was your first taste of what action and fight choreography could be, it might seem kind of interesting. Unfortunately, I've been watching action movies since I was like 4 years old. Like, my parents were deranged maniacs that would let me see anything bloody or violent. Full Metal Jacket, like just straight up like gore horror, as long as there were no boobs. No boobs. All right, so it's no boobs. So but all the bloody stuff, I just really have had to go to massive amounts of therapy. I don't know why my parents let me see all that stuff. Like, I'm changed forever. I'm scarred. Don't let your kids see gory horror movies when they're young. Just wait. Just save yourself for when you're an adult. I totally lost my train of thought. Where was I? Oh yeah, looks pretty bland. All right, David Ayer is the director. He directed Fury, and he must have just had his soul crushed when Suicide Squad was taken away from him and recut by a trailer house, and then released. And he never got that director cut because it just looks this just looks like so generic an action movie. Jason Statham doing what he does best. Not gonna lie, he's a great action actor. And I'm sure he has a fun time doing these movies, but it just, I don't know. Beekeeper, it's like there's a dartboard somewhere of former super spy professions, and they just threw a dart at a dartboard, and it hit the beekeeper job. It's like, he's a beekeeper, but he's also a super secret agent. There's another movie coming out, like The Bricklayer. He's a bricklayer, but he's a super secret agent. So it's just like, I mean, secret agents, you got to give them credit. They probably have like a real artist's soul on the inside. And they're just waiting for the day that they can retire from this life of death and destruction and become beekeepers and bricklayers. Unfortunately, Jason Statham is pulled back in, and he must once again kick butt and blow things up and slice people in half. And it's I'm sure it's going to be forgotten about the weekend after it releases. Unless you just gotta see Jason Statham, you're like the biggest Jason Statham fan. Probably could skip this one. It was almost in the I don't care section, but I got something great. You just stay tuned. I got something great for the I don't care. Also on my radar this week, nice little video game coming out on the 11th, War Hospital.
It's always easy keeping oaths and promises in the light of day in predictable, everyday life. But when darkness comes, only your survival instinct can guide your decisions.
He couldn't make it, sir.
Mud and the smell of death are friends who will always judge you.
So this is kind of interesting. War Hospital is a bit of a different take on the whole war video game genre. It's kind of maybe a little sub-genre of you are running a hospital during World War I. And it reminded me a lot of the XCOM reboot and then XCOM 2, the base section where you have to build up your base, you have to manage it, you have limited resources. It's very much like that. So you have a World War I hospital, I think you have different locations, and you have to take care of patients, you have to come up with ways to diagnose and treat all these diseases, but it's like World War I technology, so you have to develop that, you have to research and come up with new methods of treatment. You have the psychological toll on these soldiers. You have to make decisions. You have resources that are limited. You have to decide who lives and who dies. And I actually kind of like the humanity that is presented in this game. Kind of interesting. Coming out for PC, War Hospital. And we come to it at last, my friends. I don't care. And this week on I Don't Care, it's Echo, the Disney Plus Marvel series coming out this week. All 5 episodes coming out on the 9th. Really, who cares? I want to know. I don't care, but do you care? Does anybody really care about Disney Plus Marvel shows anymore? I mean, I'm not saying like nobody does, but the vast majority of humanity haven't we moved on from the MCU at this point? I mean, I don't know who this show is supposed to be for. I actually, maybe it's my fault. I don't really know who the Echo character is. I know that the Echo character is deaf. And, finally, the deaf community can finally stand tall in the light of day because they themselves have a superhero that they can finally relate to, because we know that you can't relate to any fictional character unless they look like you, talk like you, are from where you're from, have the same cultural backgrounds as you, and pretty much basically you. I mean, you can't relate to any other characters based on, like the principles they live by, or the dreams they have, or maybe their common humanity that unites us all, their flaws. That's so like last century, that's so 5 minutes ago. Now she's a Native American. She's deaf, and she's got a prosthetic leg. She's an amputee. Thank God for that. Finally we have just the DEI, the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Awards. They can go to Echo because and the actress is actually is deaf and has a prosthetic leg. So it's like you can't even get actors to play anybody that isn't like actually themselves. So pretty much we're just going to have all sorts of actors are going to only be playing themselves in movies. So we're not actually going to have characters anymore. It's just going to be like Jason Statham is actually just going to play Jason Statham and he's going to be like going about his normal day, because God forbid we should ever have actors play people that aren't exactly like them, you know, because what's the purpose of the art of acting anyway? So Echo coming out on Disney Plus, all 5 episodes, fit to be ignored on the same day. I don't care. So that's it, folks. That's what I'm excited for coming out this week. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you are excited for, or if you disagree with some of my choices. Maybe you do care about Echo. Please let me know in the comment section. We'll see you on the next First Formation.